We at the CPR Worldwide Media Network, your constitutional patriot radio station, would like to take a moment to reach out to a portion of our listening audience. To the NSA, the mainstream media, to liberals masquerading as conservatives who would like to see us off the air, and to those who are spinning their wheels trying to take us down, we have a special message just for you. At the CPR Worldwide Media Network, we're happy to be your 24/7, 365 obsession because, while you have your little panties in a wad, we're speaking truth to power, telling real conservatives what you don't want them to hear, the truth. And we're not gonna stop. Now then, back under your collective bridges with the rest of your fellow trolls, and oh yes, thanks for listening to CPR.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
You're listening to Right Side Patriots on CPR Worldwide Media.
We, the people.
And good Wednesday afternoon, July 2nd. How's everybody? Right Side Patriots is on the air. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot, along with Diane Sorey from the Patriot Factor. We are your Right Side Patriots, and we've got quite a show planned today. Diane, how you doing?
I'm doing real good, and here's the official start to the show.
The bugle salute.
The bugle salute.
I'm telling you, can we stretch the Independence Day weekend all the way to today?
I think we can.
Is that allowed?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Independence Day coming up this Friday, just a couple of days away. And wouldn't it be nice to have like a 5-day weekend instead of a 3-day weekend?
Absolutely. The more, the merrier. But you know something? If we get the extra days in the weekend, I think they'll put us to more work.
You know, I gotta tell you, we were having a conversation this morning with the staff and management at CPR. And they kept loading more stuff in and more stuff. You know, hey, could you guys do this? Hey, could you guys do that? And Diane had a very unique way of getting out of most of that conversation this morning. She claims that she spilled hot coffee on herself.
Oh, yes. Here it was. I'm at my lap desk first thing in the morning, putting in all the editorials and everything. And all of a sudden, I just moved the wrong way and seriously, guys, burning hot coffee went all over me. They got a full sample of a girly scream.
Are you okay?
But all is well.
You're okay.
I'm okay. The only casualty in all this is my tapestry quilt now smells like coffee.
You know, that's not a bad thing. I mean, you know, it'd be better if it smelled like bacon.
Oh, no, not for this vegetarian. The coffee is quite all right, thank you.
Folks, we've got a lot to do today. We're going to be talking a lot about the situation on the border. We're going to be joined at the bottom of this hour by Commander Chris Davis from Bowie's Volunteer Militia Group. He is down on the Texas border, actually on his way to the border even as we speak. He's been down in Texas for the last week or so, getting things prepared with the militia group down there, and he's going to be on the border. We're going to be talking to him live at the bottom of this hour. We're also going to talk about other border issues that are going on down there. Diane wrote a great article the other day on our Constitution-free zones, and if you don't know what those are, stand by, because we're going to get to that before too long in the show today. And we're also going to talk about the big Hobby Lobby Supreme Court decision that came down on Monday. So a lot to cover today, Diane.
Yes, and I'm so happy about that decision because for the first time in a while, they actually did the right thing and followed the rule of law. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing.
It was a bad week. A bad 5 days or so for the Obama regime when it came to SCOTUS. But, we can take a little bit of heart in the fact that at least 5 members of the Supreme Court have the Constitution in mind. Exactly. When it comes to this decision. But we'll get into that before the end of the show. Constitution-free zones. Commander Chris Davis from Bowes Volunteer Militia Group. And it's time to go to our moderate Muslim intern in a cave in the mountains of Tora Bora, our old friend Mohammed Hussein Obama. Mohammed, do you have the list of quick hitters? He does, Diane, and he just sent them over.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right there. And let's look down the list today. Are you kidding me? What? Okay. Today is July 2nd.
Yes.
We like to think of this as 2 days before Independence Day. And Independence Day was also a great movie with Will Smith.
I loved it. One of my favorites.
And so tying the two together, today, Diane, is World UFO Day.
Yes, it is. And here's something I'd like our listeners to know. Everybody laughs, everybody kids around. But I happen to be one of those who do believe there's life out there, that we cannot be arrogant enough to think in the vastness of space where all it is. There's got to be something else out there.
Well, of course there is. Where do you think I came from?
Exactly. I like to think that World UFO Day might have some good thoughts behind it. And personally, I'd love to be around when first contact is made because I seriously do believe that someday it will happen.
I'll bet this is a big day in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yes, absolutely. They must be having parties and a grand old time.
Maybe a parade, a UFO parade?
Could be. Everybody dressed up as alien characters and stuff.
Absolutely. Here's what I don't get about World UFO Day. Okay, there's going to be sightings. There's sightings of UFOs every single day. Somewhere in the world, somebody is seeing a UFO. Today being World UFO Day, it makes me wonder if we're going to find an actual alien spaceship craft of some sort, if we're going to actually discover that before we find the plane.
Oh my God, I think the UFOs will visit us before we find the plane.
It's been almost 130 days.
Exactly. And still no sign of the plane. Nothing has washed to the top of the water. Not a flotation device, not a chair, not a cushion, not a piece of clothing, not an oil slick, nothing that would lead you to find the plane. So that's still, if these people had even one working brain cell, they would realize the plane ain't in the water.
Of all the things we can't identify that are flying around out there, we cannot find a 777.
Exactly. I
Just-
mean,
It boggles my mind.
yes, but that's why I say the UFOs will be here before we find a plane, because it's not where they're looking. And I don't know what we have to do to get these people to start looking over land, start looking at the air bases, start looking in Iran. I don't know why they refuse to do this.
Iran
I
or
do know
Pakistan?
why. They don't want to find the plane. That's the whole thing. They don't want to find it.
I'm afraid that plane's going to find us before we find it.
I think it's going to find Tel Aviv.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to happen.
You know,
But-
and so while here's what it boils down to, folks. While there may well be intelligent life in outer space, apparently there is none in Malaysia.
I got news for you. There's no intelligent life in Washington, D.C.
You've noticed that too, huh?
Oh, yeah. On both sides of the aisle, there doesn't seem to be intelligent life.
That's why we hope there is intelligent life in outer space, because here on this planet, we ain't doing so good.
No, we're not. And you know who's especially not doing good?
Yeah.
Our little Muzzy in chief is not doing well. He must be, laying down on his prayer rug, stamping his feet, and his head must be, on the ground going, "Why, Allah, why?"
Well, yeah, a new poll came out, Diane, and this was from Quinnipiac, I believe. And they actually did a poll, and a lot of different questions on the poll, but the top thing on there is that Obama has been picked as the worst president since World War II, which I got to tell you came as quite a shock to me, because for my money, he's the worst president since the Revolutionary War.
Exactly. He's the worst president since day one of our republic. I mean, this man, he just can't do anything that favors the U.S. And now his new thing, he's going to force through immigration with his pen and his phone. I mean, this man is totally out of control. But you know what's even more surprising, Craig?
What's that?
In this poll, American voters, 54 to 44%, said that the Obama administration is outright not competent to run the government. What I want to know is, who is that 44% idiots that think he is?
They live in an asylum somewhere.
Somewhere, I just don't know. But they don't have their heads screwed on right. The 54% who say he is totally not competent, their heads are on good. But can you imagine 44% of this country, Craig, still thinks this man is competent to lead our country?
No.
Yeah, he is competent to lead us into an Islamic caliphate, to lead us into socialism and communism. Is he competent to uphold the Constitution? Not a chance.
Well, now, I don't know if this corresponds or not, but you're saying there's 44% who believe he's competent.
Yes.
And I'm saying there's 47% who are registered as liberals.
Exactly. And there you go. Except for the blue dog Democrats, who some of them are saying, whoa, we didn't sign on for this. Except for that, you basically have the whole Democratic Party thinking he's wonderful.
Well, the blue dog Democrats that have been elected and serve in the House and in the Senate right now are literally hiding under their desks for fear that Obama is going to show up and do a campaign stop in their state.
Exactly. That's an instant loss for them. But you know what? That's okay. That is okay. What I was happy to see is that the majority of the Americans do wish that Mitt Romney had been elected president. But the thing is, he actually was, if you take away the dead vote, you take away the voter fraud, you take away the people voting 5, 6, 7 times, Mitt Romney really did win.
Yeah, but Romney was right about everything. I mean,
Everything.
you go through the debates and you go back and you look at the video of the debates and things like that, and you can see where Romney would talk about point A, point B, C, D, E, and F, and Obama would counter him on all 5. And you look at what has transpired, since 2012, Romney was right on every count.
Exactly. He got everything right, from the economy to Israel to Iran to all of it. This man was dead on the money, and I am very proud to say that I was a volunteer on his campaign. And guess what, folks? I didn't care that he was a Mormon.
And why should we?
Exactly.
Why should we? What difference does that make? Seriously.
But hey, we got a group in this country that didn't vote for him strictly because he was a Mormon. Their battle cry was, better the Muslim we know than the Mormon we don't know. I hope you guys are happy.
Hey,
I really hope you're happy.
Speaking of Muslims, Diane, I'm getting another message here from Mohammed Hussein Obam in a cave in the mountains of Tora Bora. Hang on just a second. Let me see what you get. Mohammed, what is it now? Oh. Well, here, Mohammed says, you mentioned Blue Dog Democrats a couple of seconds ago.
Uh-huh.
And he says, you know how you can tell a Blue Dog Democrat from a regular Democrat?
The stain on his face from the prayer rug?
No. He says a Blue Dog Democrat can only reach back far enough to lick his own ass.
Hey, I was in the right area. I had it on the prayer rug.
I'm just saying. And, look, Mohammed's in a good mood today, obviously, because he came up with the Blue Dog Democrat joke there.
Absolutely.
Let's move along, because this next one has really got me scratching my head here.
And this is why Mohammed's happy.
Well, it is. Now, first of all, this could go a long ways to explaining what's going on, coming out of our White House. But Obama was holding some sort of a party or a welcome celebration or something for Gay Pride. Is it month, week, year? What is this?
I think it's month, but don't hold me to that.
Okay, so it's Gay Pride something or other. And so we had a bunch of the lesbian, gay, bi, transgender people over at the White House, otherwise known as Tuesday. And they apparently they were serving some pastries, and they had some pies, and people apparently were talking about how good the pie was. And so Obama gets up there, and he calls his pastry chef, the White House pastry chef, whose name is Bill Yosis, calls him the crust master. He says, our White House pastry chef, Bill Yosis, is the crust master. But Diane, you wouldn't believe what else he said. And I've actually got it here. You want to hear it?
Sure. I know what it is, and it would explain a lot.
Folks, take a listen to this. You're not going to believe it.
Finally, I have to mention a man who's made life at the White House very sweet. This is one of Michelle and my favorite people, our executive pastry chef, Bill Yosis, who's here tonight with his husband, Charlie. Where's Bill? So,
but he's leaving.
This is the problem. We call Bill the crust master because his pies, I don't know what he does, whether he puts crack in them or... but...
No, he doesn't. There is no crack in our pies.
Okay. I don't know what makes his pies so good. Maybe he puts crack in them? What the hell?
Now you know why Mohammed's so happy today, because Obama UPS'd an order of them over to his brethren. By the way, this will make you laugh. Fox News just had a little segment on UFO Day.
Did they really?
Yes.
I must be listening to Right Side Patriots.
Could be.
But now, look, wait a minute, folks. Hang on. The Obama is standing there in the White House, television cameras running, and he makes a joke about, and we're assuming it's a joke, we're not sure because we know of Obama's past drug history, but he's making some comment about the White House pastry chef, Bill Yosis, putting crack in the pies?
You know what? He's been hanging around Uncle Joe bite me a little bit too long because the foot and mouth disease obviously is contagious.
Well, first of all, given what we know about Obama's younger days, let's say his college days, and everything, it should come as no surprise that he is let's just say an expert on some guy's crack. But and on Gay Pride Week or month or decade or whatever it is right now. But how do you, as a president of the United States, and I choke when I even say that regarding him, but as a president of the United States, don't you think before you say that your chef puts crack in the pies?
It's beyond ludicrous, folks. Thank God I tell everybody he's not my president.
I heard that this morning, and I went, "Are you kidding me?"
Yep, that's our muzzy in chief.
I'll bet I know what he's putting in the brownies.
Oh, he better not be poisoning my favorite thing, brownies.
I'm just saying, he probably got the special recipe from Denver. But
Could be. Yeah, the batter, the batter was made in Denver and shipped over. Could be.
But now think about it, folks. Think about this for a second. Because on the off chance this was not a joke, doesn't it explain a lot about what Obama's been doing for 5.5 years?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. That skinny, lop-eared nerd must be tweaking like crazy.
Yep. Usually I save for Saturdays in the What Bugs Me section. I woke up again this morning and Obama's still president. Well, I just got to throw it in because it bugs me that Obama is still president. I cannot believe that our gutless Congress has not stood up there and had this man impeached and then arrested.
I know it.
They're so afraid of the race card.
Let me do this. Let me go to the phones here because I think we've got Commander Davis calling in, and what we're going to do here is we're gonna have Commander Davis on hold here for a couple of seconds while we finish up our little quick hitter segment and get some other business done here. But I know he's going to be down on the border when we get to him here in just a couple of minutes. But Diane, we've still got one more on the quick hitters here, and this actually takes us down to the border.
Yes, and I'm sorry, guys, but I dropped out here. The NSA, our friends, hi, guys, must be on my computer again.
It's okay. It's okay. You're here, and that's what matters. And we've got Commander Davis on hold. We'll be with him in just a couple of minutes. But Diane, there's a group of doctors, physicians, that had been down on the border, down in Texas, and they had gone to one of those holding stations. We'll call them the military base down there where they're holding a lot of the illegal aliens that are pouring across the border. And the guards down there, the people that are, I don't know what they're doing, babysitting, changing diapers, I'm not sure what they're doing, but they literally ordered these physicians not to speak of what they saw.
Exactly. And that is very bad. And what makes it worse, guys, this base is at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. And personally, I hope you like it, Julian Castro. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And I say that facetiously, of course.
What happened to the right to free speech, the right of freedom of expression? I believe that's contained in the First Amendment. But we've got government agents, government goons down there literally ordering these people, you can't talk about what you saw here. Now, we know one of the things they saw there were a lot of these illegal aliens are coming across here with all sorts of contagious diseases.
Yes. Things that have been eradicated in our country for the most part, measles epidemics, chickenpox epidemics, mump epidemics. They're bringing in things like scabies They're bringing in the herpes virus, and I do not mean the sexual one. I mean the one that causes all the stuff on your face. They're bringing in all sorts of nasty diseases that we had under control in this country. And Obama don't care because they're future Democratic voters, and that's all that matters.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're sinking to new lows on a daily basis when the government is telling people who are there to help that you can't talk about what you saw. I mean, this is not some top secret government installation. You know, they're not looking at the spaceship that we acquired in 1947 at Roswell. They're not out there at Area 51. This is a military base where they're holding illegal aliens. There's nothing top secret about this, or there shouldn't be. And to have the government telling these people, shut up, sit down, and don't say a word is wrong. It's just patently wrong.
Exactly. You know the buses that Obama's loading them up on and shipping them to Arizona and California and whatever?
Right.
They need to do a detour and go back into Mexico. Mexico don't want them either. So we need to seal our borders. And you know what? Mexico needs to seal their southern border too.
I'll tell you what, if we
99% of these people are Central Americans.
If we seal our border with Mexico today, Mexico would seal their southern border with Central America by tonight.
Exactly.
I mean, it would happen that fast. Well, Diane, we're going to take a quick break here because we've got our good friend, Commander Chris Davis from the Bowie's Volunteer Militia Group on the line, and he's going to join us here in just a couple minutes. Give us an update, a live update from the border between Texas and Mexico, and let us know how the militia intends to do what our federal government refuses to do. So, folks, don't go away. We're going to be right back in just a couple of minutes.
Citigold is an account from a global bank with over 200 years' experience, offering international banking expertise across over 100 markets. Your dedicated investment consultant adds a unique personal touch to your banking experience. Complimentary lifestyle offers like Marhaba service and free global money transfers help you save on time and money. At the core of Citigold is your dedicated relationship manager, personally looking after your financial needs. Be it lifestyle privileges like golf, lounge access across the Middle East, or worldwide privileges, Citigold provides you with a rewarding experience. One card is all you need for all your Citibank accounts. As a Citigold client, you benefit from our international expertise and global reach. Citigold is more than an account. It's a personal banking service offering exceptional privileges, customer service and recognition worldwide. So wherever you are, Citigold will be with you.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
I'm just an old black sheep from the family tree. I'm now a vet and a victim of society. Hell, I stood by the gun just to keep us free. Now my own damn country's turned its back on me. want to judge me by my leathers and the steel I ride. Well, you don't know me, you need to step aside. Don't tread on me, you don't tread on me. From the Revolution War to the Middle East, I come back to a country that's lost its peace. And now here I stand on the promised land, free and a slave to Uncle Sam. You want to judge me by my leathers and the steel I ride? Well, you don't know me, you need to step aside. Don't tread on me, you don't tread on me. Well, you think you know me, but you haven't got a clue. I stood and fought so that you would not have to. Don't tread on me, yeah, don't tread on me. Want to judge me by my leathers and the steel I ride? Well, you don't know me, you need to step aside. Don't tread on me, now don't tread on me, now don't tread on me, now don't tread on me. Yeah, the old this is like a man down.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot with Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor. And Diane, we've got a very special guest today, and yes, we want to welcome to the show Commander Chris Davis from Bowie's Volunteer Militia Group. And Commander, it's great to have you on with Right Side Patriots. How are you today, sir?
It is my honor to be here, and I'm absolutely doing well today.
And where would we find you right now? Exactly where along the border, or not, maybe not exactly where, but generally, where along the border are you?
I'm actually en route to the border from our command post, which is located south of San Antonio.
Okay, and now how long have you had the command post set up?
Well, the command post is not completely set up at this time. It is underway of being set up. As you may imagine, an operation of this magnitude that we're going to be performing down here is it takes a lot of logistics, a lot of planning, and stuff in order to get underway. So we're in the process of getting it complete, and there's a lot of help coming our way in order to do so. And once we get it complete, once we get everything set, we'll be ready to go operational.
Terrific. And do you think you will be able to, what I would hope, is get these people on buses back to where they came from? Or is your objective mainly to get the border sealed once and for all?
Our objective is to, and what we want to do is to work with law enforcement and get the border sealed. As far as having them sent back and everything, that's obviously entirely up to law enforcement of all aspects. But we know that law enforcement does not have the manpower to seal the border. So our mission is to hopefully work with law enforcement, upon which we'll have I've sent out emails and set a meeting date of the 5th to meet with law enforcement. The militia commanders meet with law enforcement and discuss things with them and see in what aspect that we can help them. Now, it's my understanding that they can't really give us a green light but at the same time, they can't really give us a red light. So what I hope to come out of this meeting with law enforcement is for them to say, you know what, we appreciate your help. You know, we can't tell you that you can, and we can't tell you that you can't, but, you know, if you're down here, this is what we would like to see, type of thing.
Let me ask you one question in regard to that, in regard to law enforcement. Does Obama have his goons down there to stop you from doing what needs to be done?
That's going to remain to be seen, and you can be sure that anything of that aspect that happens will be live streamed and will be viral before you know it.
Well, and we hope that you keep us here at Right Side Patriots and CPR in mind, because, you know, if things break in that direction, we would certainly like to be able to do some live updates and cut into regular programming from time to time if we need to let people know exactly what is happening down there along the border. Now, have you had the opportunity yet to even speak with any of the Border Patrol down there? Because, look, I know, Commander, that they're not happy. They're not happy with having their hands tied behind their backs by this regime. They're not happy with the way things are going down there. ICE agents aren't particularly happy with what they're being told they have to do down there. And as a matter of fact, you know, I watched a video. You kind of clued us in, and I watched a video this morning from a Border Patrol agent, and it was just, you watch this and you go, why are we even doing things this way? He was calling this an enormous problem, and you could tell he was pissed.
Absolutely, and I know the video which you're referring to, and if the listeners want to watch it, I'm pretty sure you guys can post a link to it. Yeah, you know, these guys just want to do their job, and they're so disgusted. They've got Border Patrol agents looking for other jobs. You know, they're not. A lot of things that the Border Patrol agents are forced to do is out of their hands. I'm pretty sure a lot of these checkpoints they have that's up to 100 miles from the border, you know, it's something that they don't really take pleasure in for the most part. However, you know, they're doing what they're instructed to do, what they have to do, and, you know, it's gotten to the point, you're absolutely right, you know, I mean, 70%, I believe is the figure that I saw, of Border Patrol agents aren't even doing their job functions. They're taking care of these children that have come across the border. So yeah, you're right. They're very unhappy, and you know, they can't put out a cry for help. But at the same time, if you look at it, they're putting out a cry for help.
Well, and you know, if they actually do the job that they've been hired to do, as you know, law enforcement officers, as border agents, then they get in trouble. This Obama regime will actually threaten their jobs if they do their jobs. It's totally backwards. It's insane. And yesterday, I was reading an article this morning. Jim Burdenstein, now he's a congressman from Oklahoma, and he went down to Fort Still, Oklahoma. And this is another one of the military bases where the regime is housing illegal aliens, a lot of them kids, like you said, Commander, but adults are there as well. And he went to see for himself what the conditions were at Fort Still, Oklahoma. They denied him access. The agents that were there, the security people that were there, under orders from the Obama regime, denied a sitting congressman to come onto the base. It's insane.
It is absolutely insane, but it's the direction upon, you know, those of us who are awake and aware knew we, you know, they were going with this. You know, the whole point of this is part of their agenda for open borders, for amnesty, you know, which, you know, we know is going to lead to an economic failure in this country, complete economic failure, and it's going to lead to basically like they got in Europe, I believe. You know, everybody's just you know, this is all America now. You know, we're all wanting to get rid of national sovereignty. You know, that's part of the reason why they want to get rid of the Second Amendment, so folks like us can't stand up against this. So, it is backwards. It is part of their agenda, and, we the people are rising up. I'm not sure if you heard about the folks over in California who protested and denied the buses coming in. We need that everywhere. Anywhere that these folks are transported to from the border, I would not advise doing it on the border, absolutely not. But anywhere that these buses are transported, folks, that's where your protesters are going to be needed, Find out where they're going and deny them entry. Just simply deny them entry.
Commander Chris Davis is our guest this afternoon on Right Side Patriots. He's down in Texas on his way to the border, even as we speak, setting up a command post a little ways north of the border near San Antonio. And Commander, let me ask you this. How many militia people are you expecting to take part in this, and how long do you expect to be there trying to maintain some sense of order along the border?
It's really hard to say as far as how many we expect to be there. You've got people whose hearts are in it, but maybe they physically can't come or financially can't come, and stuff like that. So it's really hard to put a figure on it. But once we get this operation underway, I totally expect Patriots to live up to the word and everything they've been preaching and come down. So it's going to be a lot. There'll be a lot of militia, 3%er, oath keepers, even ex-military, just regular Patriots, ex-military. I really fully expect a lot to be there if they live up to everything they've been preaching, And as far as this is a long-term operation. It's something it's going to take a while, Everybody knows there's no easy fix to this, and it's not something that you can throw money at and fix or be done with overnight. So, and obviously the whole reason why we're doing this is the failure of local, state, and federal governments to do their jobs. If they would just, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Diane, this is not an overnight deal, and no. This is not, an easy thing that these militia folks are taking on. And that's why we got to give a lot of credit to them. Now, I know, Commander, there was a whole lot of hoo-ha when the Bundy Ranch situation was going on, and people were all concerned because, the militia, and somebody's going to get an itchy finger and all hell's going to break loose. And it didn't happen. It did not go down that way. The militia was actually very well organized. And what people need to remember is our Second Amendment states that a well-regulated militia. Now, you got to remember, folks, well-regulated does not mean today what it meant in 1776. To our founders and framers, well-regulated meant well-armed, well-supplied, and well-trained. And that's the kind of militia you have down there, isn't it, Commander? Absolutely. Most militia that I've talked to, in fact, 99.9% of the militia that, I've encountered over the years and talked with, and they are. They train. Some of them train once every 2 weeks, and some of them train every week. The Bowies Volunteer Militia, which is actually a train-the-trainer type of militia. These guys, they bring people in who are interested, and they train them up with all the knowledge, skills, and abilities to go out and therefore start their own militia. So they're kind of unique as far as militias are concerned. However, the Bundy Ranch situation... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The Bundy Ranch situation, you're absolutely right. Not a shot was fired. They were ready. They were threatened, but not a shot was fired. Now, this situation down here is almost a far cry different from the Bundy situation because, it's not just a tyrannical government, the BLM type folks we're facing. It's going to be cartel, it's going to be gang members who are not going to appreciate us infringing, so to speak, on their human trafficking, on their drug trade that they're shooting across the border. So it's going to be it's going to be a different situation. But everybody that comes through my camp here, my headquarters, everybody is vetted. Everybody is going to be legally able to be there, and everybody's going to know that you do not fire unless you're fired upon. And even when you're fired upon, your first course of action is to escape and evade.
Okay. You know, it's such a simple solution when you think about the border. All you need is the wall, the full length of the southern United States. And what's amazing is, here it is, Israel has a border around their country. And yes, they still get attacked by rockets being lobbed into them, but they don't have people crossing the borders per se like we have here. We need to, if not cement walls, we need to put electrified fences along the whole border, because these people coming here, you know, the mainstream media likes to call them undocumented immigrants, but that's not what they are. They're criminals, because they're breaking our laws to get here. These are not immigrants. These are criminals coming here. They know they are breaking the laws. Nobody has a problem with immigration if it's done legally. It's the illegal act of immigration that we're all so opposed to. And this has got to stop. And I'm sorry, put an electrified fence down the whole way, because these people are criminals. We have laws on the books. They know they're breaking the laws. And this should be a no-brainer for who's ever in the presidency. But this president will not consider it a no-brainer because he wants these people for future Democratic votes.
You're absolutely right. You know, the solution is simplex in its thought and planning, but in its execution, obviously, it's not. There was so much money, and I forget the year. I think it was 2006, maybe 2007. There was so much money that was supposedly allocated to put fence across the border, you know, to put a barrier there. And it's not near, you know, what do you got? You know, by comparison, you just got a few miles, by comparison of the length of the border, of actual border wall. You know, so where did the rest of this money go to? Where's the rest of the fence? Well, obviously, they didn't use it for the border fence. You know, and the whole problem is there's no accountability here. You know, and if you come down to the meat and potatoes of where the actual problem lies, it lies with we the people, because we the people have failed to hold their feet to the fire. Everybody from your sheriff to your mayor to your governor to your state representatives, all the way up to the president. That's where we have failed. We have failed to ensure that they do their job. And that, I feel, in my heart, is about to change in this country. We have come to a tipping point where we have had enough. We've had enough of the tyranny. We've had enough of the lies. We've had enough of the corruption. And that's why you see all these things going on, like the Bundy Ranch, like the people turning around those buses, like the militia starting to gather to take care of the border. Because we the people are the government, and we are here to take our country back as legally and lawfully and peacefully as possible. But in the end, we're going to have this country back. It will be a constitutional republic.
Well, that's what we're all working so hard for. But you know what? Yes, we the people are at fault for not holding their feet to the fire. But you know what? We have a gutless Congress in D.C. on both sides of the aisle, except for a few people, good people like Ted Cruz and his ilk. But they are so damn afraid of the race card being used against them by the so-called first black president, who was not the first black president. He's the first mixed-race biracial president, that they're so afraid to call for this man's impeachment and then arrest him, try him, convict him of treason, crimes against America, you name it. But no one in Congress has the guts to stand up and do it because they're all so afraid of the race card. They would rather see this country go down
than step on the toes of America's supposedly first black president. And that has got to stop, because if this continues on, we're lost.
You're absolutely right. The political correctness has been so burned into the minds and so mainstream by the media, and that's part of what's destroying our country. You're right. They don't have, but it's not only the president. It's pretty much the entire federal government, and probably about 95% of the House and Senate that really need to go, and they really need to be tried for treasonous crimes, for crimes against the Constitution and the people.
Just the fact that they're not acting is a crime in and itself against the Constitution, because they're supposed to uphold the Constitution, and they're not doing it. No one in the Congress or the Senate, save a very few, is doing it. They're letting not only the president, but like you said, others, they're letting them run amok and not putting a stop to it. November is our last chance. I keep telling people over and over, you have got to pull the lever for the Republican, no matter who it is, even if you have to hold your nose, because only if we retake the Senate can we stop this nonsense. But
I've got a different bit of opinion as far as voting goes. But however, we've got to stand up. We've got to get if it's to be done peacefully, we've got to get the right people in place. We've got to get people that don't care about parties. That all they care about is the truth and the Constitution. And those people are out there. But unfortunately, this two-party system, you're right, this two-party system we have, even when we do get people in there, they're not allowed to do anything. I mean, look at Ron Paul, Ron Paul, lined up with the Constitution every which way I can research on him, But, he was great. He was great at putting, making things national debates. But was he allowed to really affect change? He wasn't, because the two-party system loves their power, they love the corruption, and that's what they want.
Well, as for Ron Paul, the man was in the Senate for 43 years. I believe he got one bill passed. He is not an effective legislator. But we're not going to debate Ron Paul. The problem is, yes, we do have some good third-party candidates, but the problem is, if you vote for them, you're actually voting for the Democrat, because you're taking the vote away from the Republicans. The Democrats are not going to change what's going on in this country, but the Republicans, we can hold their feet to the fire, but we cannot hold the Democrats. And a third-party vote is a waste. It's an absolute waste. You might as well pull the Democratic lever. And some of the third-party candidates are good candidates, I agree. Some of them are so far to the right that they can almost touch hands with the far left. And we can't risk something like that happening in our country. We just can't. That's why I say, hold your nose if you have to. Because if we could get the Senate back Republican, we can get those borders sealed. We can get them sealed. We're not going to get them sealed under a Democratic administration.
Let me ask you this, Commander. We've seen a lot of shenanigans, and that's probably the nicest way I can put it, that have been pulled by liberals in this country over the last 5.5 years. You guys are down there as patriots. You're going to man the border. You're going to do whatever you can. You don't want to get into a shooting situation, but if it happens and you're left with no choice, you will shoot back. But let me ask you this. What happens if somebody comes down there to intentionally besmirch the job that you're doing and opens fire pretending to be a militia person? How do you handle a situation like that?
There will be, we will have a roster that will be an eyes-only roster of personnel who are involved in our operation. So if there are provocateurs that come down and do their own thing, and try to intentionally subvert this, it will be quickly known throughout the law enforcement community and then to the public that no, this person has nothing to do with what's going on. It was some wacko, crazy person, or however they're going to label them, that come down and did their own thing. We will have a strict roster to be able to provide.
Right, and I understand that, and that's great. But you also understand that the liberal mainstream media is not going to put that information out there, no matter what. I mean, This person could be, green with pink and purple polka dots, dancing around naked, firing off a gun, and they're gonna tell their listeners and their viewers that this was a Tea Party Patriot militia person down there, no matter what. So you're going to have a barrier there that it's going to be tough to get across. Now, if something like that happens, you have got to let Diana and I know what is going on down there, so we can get the right information, the true, real information out.
Yes.
Because we want to act as Right Side Patriots and CPR Radio. We want to act almost as a conduit for you and your militia groups and even the other militia groups that are forming up not only in Texas but here in my state of Arizona and over in California as well. We need to keep the publicity feed going and the proper, true information flowing from what you guys are doing on the border to what people need to know.
Absolutely, and we are going to do our total best to have that information out there. And you're right, every little thing is going to be picked up on by the liberal media. But, it's fears of that I feel are partially to blame in preventing people from taking action. We're going to have it. It happened at Bundy Ranch. It's probably going to happen, just with that little, them guys turning the buses around. They're going to do whatever they can to demonize what we're doing because, well, that's their job and they're sheep. But, however, we've got to overcome these fears. It's just like when people come to me and they say, I understand this needs to be done or that needs to be done, but we can't really do this or that because, the law says this and the law says that. If our founding fathers came up with all the excuses that some of today's patriots come up with, we would be having British flags on our poles. I promise you.
Oh, you're right.
We would not have been a free country. So with all due regard, and doing things as lawfully and as peacefully as we can, in order to maintain our national sovereignty and get back our freedoms and liberties. We got to quit with the excuses, and we got to rise up and do it. Otherwise, you're right, all is lost.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know you're a busy guy. You've got a lot to do. You're on your way to the border down in Texas right now. And Commander Chris Davis has been our guest this afternoon on Right Side Patriots. You're doing Patriots work down there, my friend. You really are. And I hope you give our best from Right Side Patriots and CPR Worldwide Media to the rest of the Patriot militia that you've got down there. You're with Bowie's Volunteer Militia Group. And let us know if there's anything we can do to help with what you guys have to do.
Roger that, sir. We definitely will. And I very much appreciate you having me on as a guest today. We took an oath, and that oath has no expiration date.
Exactly, and we need to take our country back, and you guys are sort of like the Minutemen on the front lines right now, and we honor and give you our best, and like Craig said, please keep us informed because we're not going to get the truth from the media. We're only going to get the truth from the militia.
We absolutely will, and without the support staff behind us and without the, patriotic networks like yourselves, this mission really wouldn't happen. So we appreciate everything that you guys do, and we will keep touch with you.
Commander Davis, thank you very much for being a guest on Right Side Patriots today. We're going to let you go because we know you've got your hands full on the border, but we will be checking back with you from time to time to get updates. And like I said, if there's anything we can do from Right Side Patriots or through our blogs or with CPR Radio, you just let us know. Reach out and give us a holler, and we'll do whatever we can to help, sir.
And I'd just like you to know one thing before you go. In our next segment, we are going to be talking about the Constitution-free zones. And I thank you for alerting us to that.
Commander Davis, you have a great day, and stay safe on the border.
Will do. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Folks, we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes with more Right Side Patriots. And like Diane said, we're talking about Constitution-free zones, something you may or may not know even exists in the United States. But when you hear what Diane found out, you're going to be shocked. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with more Right Side Patriots.
Katy Perry is coming to town. Can we get tickets, please?
Tickets? Sure, how many?
Well, there's Hannah and Maddie and Jen and Sarah and Sarah.
Whoa, hold on. Here it comes. We can't forget about your older sister.
Thank you.
Seriously? What? I get 2 times the thank you points on each ticket. Can I come? Yeah.
The City Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on entertainment and dining out with no annual fee. To apply, go to city.com/thankyoucards.
We at the CPR Worldwide Media Network, your constitutional patriot radio station, would like to take a moment to reach out to a portion of our listening audience. To the NSA, the mainstream media, to liberals masquerading as conservatives who would like to see us off the air, and to those who are spinning their wheels trying to take us down, we have a special message just for you. At the CPR Worldwide Media Network, we're happy to be your 24/7, 365 obsession because, while you have your little panties in a wad, we're speaking truth to power, telling real conservatives what you don't want them to hear, the truth. And we're not gonna stop. Now then, back under your collective bridges with the rest of your fellow trolls, and oh yes, thanks for listening to CPR.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Listening to the second hour of Right Side Patriots on CPR Worldwide Media.
We the people.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot with Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor. And we are your Right Side Patriots. Diane, what a great opportunity we just had to speak with Commander Chris Davis from Bowie's Volunteer Militia Group.
Yes. It's not many that have actually been able to speak to someone who has been to the border, who is going back to the border, and who can give us the truth because, folks, we're not getting the truth from the mainstream media.
Well, and let me just tell our listeners, let them in a little bit on the inside of radio here. We spoke with Commander Davis earlier this morning, and just to confirm that he was still going to be able to come on the show today. And he said, yeah. And I said, now, are you on the border yet? And he said, no. He said, I'm actually going to be heading down there. He said, I'm going to try and get there before I come on the show. But he said, if I can't make it all the way to the border until showtime, he said, I'll find a spot where I've got good cell service, so I'll be able to call in. So that is what he did, folks. And let me tell you what a great patriot he was. He literally had to pull his vehicle off to the side of the road to be safe, and then in a spot where he had bars on his cell phone so he could call in and be a part of Right Side Patriots today. And we really, really want to thank Commander Chris Davis for doing that. Yes. And we weren't kidding. If there's any way that we can help here at Right Side Patriots or at CPR Worldwide Media to get the word out, if they need that type of a conduit, we will be ready to do that. But Diane, you did a great article a couple of days ago on Constitution-free zones. And this was something that Commander Davis said, hey, you might want to check this out.
Yes.
And you did, and you found some stunning information on this.
It is unbelievable, folks, but going around our country within 100 miles of our borders, and because Florida is such a skinny state, it encompasses all of Florida, technically the DHS says the Constitution is not in effect in response to certain issues. In 2009, the DHS, and they're the ones that are charged with securing our nation's borders, and, they haven't done a very good job.
Yeah, that's pretty much a joke.
Announced it would conduct what they called a civil liberties impact assessment of its in-place suspicionless search and seizure policy, and what's in place encompasses the entirety of the United States. They claimed it was done in the name of national security, and in doing so, they made up what's called the border zone, a zone that stretches 100 miles inland from every coast and from our northern and southern borders, including where U.S. land meets oceans, in addition to the recognized borders with Mexico and Canada. Now, we all know Canada's not the problem. Mexico is. Legally, the 100-mile border zone is called the extended border of the U.S., as defined by Title VIII of the Federal Code of Regulations that deals with aliens and nationalities. And there's also something called the functional equivalent border, which encompasses areas around international airports within the interior region of our country. And this spreading into the interior part, it's part of a broad expansion of broader powers with the potential to affect the lives of we ordinary Americans who have never left this country, let alone try to enter it. But what they did, what they were very sneaky is, they tied all this into the Immigration and Nationality Act.
Yeah, check this out, folks, because this is where this comes into play with what we're seeing at the border today with this flood of illegal aliens that are pouring over our borders. The DHS actually tied this to the immigration.
And that's where it basically comes full circle, because now we're not allowed to deport these people within this 100-mile zone. That's why these people that are coming into Texas are being shipped to certain areas in Texas, in Arizona, certain areas in California, certain areas now in Massachusetts, New York, and they're spreading them out along the country within that 100-mile radius. That's so they cannot be deported.
Now, you notice they're not sending them to places like Kansas or Wyoming or Montana or northern Texas or, Tennessee or places like that, where you're seeing them going. If you look at Diane's article, she's got the map in there that has these extended borders, the Constitution-free zone. And you look at that map and you look and see in the news where they're shipping all these illegal aliens, and 99% of the time they are landing within that Constitution-free zone.
And the Immigration and Nationality Act, like I said, gives them protection from being searched, seized, or deported. But we, the people, get no such protection. In other words, I could be trotting down the street here in Florida, and one of these agents can come over to me and demand that I turn in my computer, my cell phone, let's say my purse. They can search me because I'm in a constitutional free zone, and I can't do a damn thing about it.
Well, see, and all of Florida is constitution free, according to this, because Florida's a long, skinny, narrow state.
Exactly. Now, this thing only applies to the I shouldn't say only, because these are very important amendments. This applies to the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments, guys. So this affects our free speech, our Second Amendment rights to bear arms, and our Fourth Amendment right against searches and seizures. They have declared the Constitution invalid. Now, this happened, let's be honest, this original idea did come under the Bush administration towards the end of his presidency, but it was strictly to involve people from specific countries, meaning the Arab Muslim countries. That's what it was put in place for. When Obama became president in 2009, he, of course, negated everything Bush did, and that's when his version of the DHS went in and changed this and hooked it into the Immigration and Nationality Act.
Now let me point something out to folks here. You know, we're talking again about the Constitution-free zone, a 100-mile wide border around the United States, whether it's our southern border, our northern border, or our coastlines. Okay.
Right.
Now, you look at all of Hawaii is a Constitution-free zone. The Aleutian Islands up in Alaska and the border, the coastal border around Alaska and between Alaska and Canada, 100-mile wide and 100 miles around all of the United States. Now, here is the part that will really shock people. The United States population is about 311 million people. Living within this 100-mile swath all the way around our U.S. borders, coast and land, comprises almost 2/3 of the entire U.S. population. 194 million Americans are living in what is now termed a Constitution-free zone.
And they did this very cleverly. They figured when they put all these people into the high population areas that they will get lost amongst the crowd. Now, this will surprise everybody. There was a group that came to the Constitution's defense, and it won't be who you think it is. It's actually the ACLU. And they have brought suits and whatever against this because, as liberal as the ACLU is, they do value and stand by First Amendment rights. So they took this on. But guess what, folks? A liberal Democratic judge, Edward Gorman, upheld the Obama administration's policy granting officials the authority to search Americans of their laptops, of their electronics, of their cell phones, of anything within those 100-mile zones, and upheld that it does not apply to the newly entered.
Now,
and that they stuck into the Immigration Act.
Now, there's something else that Diane wrote about in this article that caught my eye, and that is there are 3 basic criteria that have to be met for them to do such a search or seizure. However, if you understand the way government works, they can trump up these excuses pretty quickly.
Yes, yeah, and these are, you must be suspected of committing a crime.
Now let me stop you right there. We're going to do these one at a time. You must be suspected of having committed a crime. So if they wanted to, they could say, well, we suspect that you did crime A. Whether or not they actually have that suspicion, whether or not you actually match a description, whether or not you were even there. All they have to do is say, we suspect you, and they can start the process. So what's the next one?
The next one is a person must have recently crossed the border, meaning if they're already here, buried within those 100-mile zones, they no longer can be deported, searched, or seized.
Now, if law enforcement comes knocking on your door, federal law enforcement, and they say, we suspect you recently crossed the border, are you as an American prepared to prove that you haven't?
Exactly.
How can you prove that you haven't? All they have to say is, we suspect, and the search and seizure begins. Okay, and the third one is?
The third one is a little bit more ambiguous because it says an agent should know that the object of a search hasn't been changed. Meaning, let's say they want to grab my laptop because they suspect that last year I threatened somebody, okay, which I never do. But let's say, for argument's sake, last year I threatened somebody. If I changed that computer, let's say got a new IP address, got a new computer, then they can't search it.
But how would they know? That's the point.
But how would they know? That's the catch-22. Basically, it's the Constitution be damned in these zones. But it's not against the people coming here illegally. It's against we law-abiding American citizens.
The people that are coming across the border illegally today, these kids, these teenagers, the adults, the coming across by the tens, if not hundreds of thousands, are actually protected by this, while we, the people, the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens of the United States, are being held to account by it.
Exactly. And let me just read you a couple of sentences, guys, because I kind of sum it up pretty well about what's going on down there. What's happening now is America is being assaulted by an influx of illegal criminals. Yes, criminals crossing our southern border, called undocumented immigrants by the media. These folks, even the children, do not deserve that moniker because they're criminals by the very act of crossing into our country without following our immigration laws, meaning they've broken our laws to get here. And if you break our laws, you're a criminal, as the meaning of the word criminal is that you've done something illegal. However, doing something illegal is not just a catchphrase. For those crossing our borders, it also applies to the questionable activities of the Obama administration, and questionable includes keeping from public knowledge illegalities done in reference to those crossing illegally. One hand with this illegal stuff washes the other, because here it is, these people are knowingly crossing our border because they know they're breaking our laws, that the Obama administration doesn't care, so they're doing something illegally, and hence that's how this whole constitutional free zone or border zones, whatever they call it, the constitutional free zone actually is the name given to it by DHS. Border zones is the actual wording in the act. They don't care that these people are coming here illegally, because the bottom line is, folks, as these people register to vote, they slip into society, whatever, they're going to vote Democratic because they're not going to vote to hurt the party that feeds them, and they're not going to vote for the party that's protecting them from being deported. But they're being deported by screwing, basically, our Constitution. And that in itself is illegal. But nobody does anything about it.
Let me take you back.
Still on their hands and does nothing.
Let me take you back to about an hour ago on the show, and Diane and I were talking about these doctors who had gone down to the San Antonio area where they're holding these illegals, and these physicians were ordered by federal agents not to speak of what they saw in the border holding station where all these illegal kids and some adults are being housed. They were ordered by federal agents to shut the hell up.
Exactly.
Not only that, but yesterday at Fort Still, Oklahoma, we spoke about this with Commander Chris Davis just a few minutes ago. At Fort Still, Oklahoma, Congressman Jim Burdenstein, Oklahoma congressman, went down there to have a look at the holding station himself. They're housing them in a U.S. military base, Fort Still, Oklahoma. And when he got down there, federal agents met him at the gate and would not allow him on the base. A sitting congressman.
Yes.
Are you going to tell me laws are not being broken here, folks?
And what's worse, they are jeopardizing the health, safety, and welfare of the United States because these people are bringing in measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, scabies, herpes. And I do not mean the genital kind. I'm talking about the kind, the virus that goes on your face, whatever. These people are bringing in things that we basically had eradicated. And because we've had them eradicated, we don't have, the wherewithal to handle an epidemic of this extent. And these people, they are sick, and yet in the case of the children, their parents know damn well they're breaking our laws, but they're sending them here for two reasons. Maybe one is altruistic. They think their children will be better off in the United States. No, they won't, because we, the people, will be paying for them. And number two, if the children are here, it kind of gives them a passport into here. We need to go to the United States to take care of our children. And of course, the Obama group will welcome them with open arms. These are not legal immigrants. Legal, yes. Illegal, no. It is that simple.
Now, folks, if you want to know more about these Constitution-free zones, I would encourage you to go read Diane's blog. You can find it at thepatriotfactor.blogspot.com. Read the full article, folks, because it's jaw-dropping. When you see what this federal government is doing right now along our borders that affects 2/3 of the American population, your hair will be on fire. Now, I've got to tell you, too, that it was just a day ago, 2 days ago, on Monday, Obama, just after being slapped by the Supreme Court in a 9-0 decision that he has exceeded his powers as the President of the United States, steps out to the Rose Garden with Grumpy the Clown, Joe Biden, standing behind him. And he says about illegal immigration, if House Republicans are really concerned about me taking too many executive actions, pass a bill. And then he went on to tell us that he is going to continue to subvert Congress.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, holy crap.
Mm-hmm. This man doesn't care. He threatened that if something is not done to pass an amnesty bill, he will take it into his own authority, and with his pen and his phone, he will allow illegal immigration into this country, blanket amnesty.
No.
This man is so out of control, and our Congress does nothing.
I'm telling you, he's not the only one that's out of control. Did you hear what Nancy Pelosi said the other day? She's standing outdoors somewhere, and the Botox is literally drying as she speaks. And she gets up to a microphone and says that all these illegal kids that are flooding into our border, sucking our system dry, are actually an opportunity.
Yeah.
She called them an opportunity.
They're an opportunity to get more boats in 10 years from now. Yeah, they're an opportunity, all right. Who's going to take care of these kids? Who's going to house clothe and feed them? The government is. Who pays into the government? We taxpayers do. I don't want my taxpayer monies being used on criminals.
I mean, folks, the whole situation stinks from the ground up. And this has all been put in place by the Obama regime. The engraved invitations were sent. The illegals are flooding the border. They're flooding the welfare system. We're supposed to be paying for their attorneys to defend them against getting deported when they came here illegally. Excuse me?
Exactly.
This whole thing stinks from the ground up. Now, when I heard Obama come out on Monday and speak in the Rose Garden, Diane, I went off.
Yes, you did.
I went off. I mean, I'd had enough, and I jumped up and down on my keyboard long enough that I actually put out an article that I published in the National Patriot, thenationalpatriot.com yesterday. And I mean, when I get that mad, I can either go off like on a 4-letter word filled rant, or I can go to the 100% sarcasm.
Snarky, we call
snarky. and I went snarky on this, but I'm telling you, it is exactly how I feel. And I mean, look, Obama's saying, if we just do this DREAM Act thing and we allow amnesty, it's going to solve our problems. Our economy's going to grow because of it. Our debt is going to shrink because of it. On and on and on he went. And it's bull. It's bull crap.
It's bull.
We know it's bull crap.
How can you possibly help the economy when you're putting Americans out of work? When you're putting American citizens out of work by putting illegals in their place. Yeah, the illegals get the job, and they still get to keep all their handouts and freebies, and we Americans are put out of the jobs. How does that help the economy? It doesn't.
It doesn't. Now, give me a second here. In the couple of minutes we have left in this segment, Obama actually wants us to believe that passing immigration amnesty is going to lead to better border security. And silly me, I thought beefing up border patrols, ramping up deportation, and closing the damn border would lead to better border security, but what do I know? So I came up with a possibility, a test, so we could test out whether Obama's right or whether he's wrong on this. And I used Detroit as a test subject, okay? It's already a monument to liberalism, so there can't be any sandbox crying and whining over the fact that a deck got stacked. So here's what I think. For the next full year, we throw open every jail cell in the Motor City metro area. And while the guards are busy changing diapers on welfare babies in Detroit, all up and down 8 Mile, instead of arresting those who break the law in Detroit for the next year, just let them run amok and invite all their criminal friends to join them in Detroit, and they can dream of whatever it is dreamers dream of. Now, at the end of the testing calendar year, if Detroit's economy has improved, if their unemployment level has dropped, if their chasm of debt has narrowed, if their businesses are doing better, and for God's sakes, if all their water has been turned back on, paid in full, and the toilets in Motown are flushing with reckless abandon, I guarantee you I will personally kiss Obama's narrow ass at high noon on live television, and I'll follow that up by giving Michelle a sponge bath while I keep my eyes open.
Well, I've got even another idea that you can add to it. The White House is a pretty big place. It's got a lot of rooms, and the grounds are pretty big. How about we send them all over there?
Well, I'm telling you, they'll have good pies, because the pies are full of crack at the White House. We found that out earlier today, too.
We'll have all sorts of happy illegal criminals. But we already got one in the White House. So.
We do. We've got our own illegal alien. He's kneeling on a prayer rug and listening to our show right now. I just know it. Hello!
They're pointing east. Absolutely.
Crying out loud. Folks, we've got one more segment coming up. We want to talk about the Hobby Lobby decision from the Supreme Court, a major, major decision, and Obama's crying in his crack pie over it.
Yes,
so
he is.
Don't go away, folks.
Smoking the pie.
It probably is. Yeah, probably is. Folks, don't go away. Diane and I will be right back with more Right Side Patriots after this.
I believe that every single one of us has what it takes
to win back-to-back gold.
Ski faster than any other human.
I believe it's possible to overcome fear.
I believe
it's possible to destroy stereotypes.
To start over, to be the toughest,
the strongest,
the bravest in the world. And when we work together, we can make it all possible. That's why Citi has donated $500,000 through its Every Step of the Way program. an initiative created to help future athletes reach their full potential through sport programs that inspire us.
Like figure skating in Harlem. Like youth enrichment services. Like Team for Tomorrow.
The Team USA Stay on the Slopes initiative. Now spread the word and help decide how much of that money goes toward
Offering personal support and financial assistance to Olympians in need.
Promoting the growth of hockey in the U.S.
expanding the sport of luge into new regions.
Support for wounded service members.
Join Team City and let's turn a world of potential into reality.
Go to city.com/everystep and help decide where the money goes.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
It started back in 1776. We told old King George we were sick of his tricks. Started our own thing, called it the USA. USA. Yeah, things went fine till 1864. We had a little falling out called the Civil War, but we got through that, and once again we were on our way. We saw 2 world wars and the Great Depression. Korea and Vietnam sure made an impression. Presidents lied to us on TV, but look at what we got today. It's an abomination. Yeah, that's what we got. It's an abomination. And you can like it or not. You can't forget about how we did it yesterday. Obama is changing things and doing it his way. And all that I can say is, it's an abomination. Yeah. Well, now he doesn't seem to care about the Constitution. That's passe. He's got new solutions. And no need to bother Congress. They just get in his way. With executive orders and a room full of czars, he's taking over banks and building our cars. He wants to run health care and control our take-home pay. His Keynesian ways are increasing our debt. We haven't even seen the start of it yet. Our grandkids are gonna be paying till their dying day for this abomination. Yeah, that's what we got. It's an abomination. And you can like it or not. It's tax and spend and tax. He's gonna break us all, but let's face the facts. He told us what he's gonna do. It's his abomination. Woo. Well, he bristles at liberal or socialist. He prefers progressive, but you can bet on this. No matter what you call it, friend, it's an abomination. Yeah, you know, I think he wants to change USA to USSA, United Socialist States of America. Ha! Well, das vidanya, comrade. Woo! Have mercy. Hey, you with the Obama sticker on your bumper. How is that hope and change working for you? You know me, I'm just hoping I'll have some change left in 2012. But that...
Well, das vidanya, comrade. Well, that's Ray Stevens, the Abomination. We're back with Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot. Diane Sorey from the Patriot Factor. It's been a packed show today. I mean, we've gotten through the quick hitters. We had Commander Davis from Bowie's Volunteer Militia Group. Folks, you got to read that article Diane wrote about the Constitution free zones. I'm just telling you right now, it'll set your teeth ajar.
Oh, yeah.
And now, in the minutes that we have left, we would be remiss if we did not talk about this Hobby Lobby decision that came down from the Supreme Court on Monday morning.
Exactly. I mean, this was a victory for our side, guys. And it was a 5-4, of course, split. Roberts did the right thing, thank God. And it does put a big kink in Obamacare, and we need those kinks. But what's amazing about this is the government intrusion into private lives. This is totally against our Constitution. Hobby Lobby is a private business owned by a religious family. Obama wanted them to give up their beliefs for his piece of garbage known as Obamacare.
Sure.
And what's even worse, though, is contraceptives is not a health care issue. It's a choice. You either choose to use it or you don't choose to use it. It's not a disease. It shouldn't be in Obamacare to begin with.
Now, there are some women out there who will say, I use the pill, the birth control pill, to help control, that time of the month and stuff.
Well,
and that's true.
We're not talking about those. There are some medical uses for the pill, granted.
But see, this is where we have to draw the line. This is where we have to separate liberal fantasy from reality, okay? Because right now, every liberal talking head in this country is running to the nearest microphone and just crying and whining that women's rights have been upended by the Supreme Court and this and that. Look, nobody has denied women anything.
Exactly.
What we're talking about here, folks, there's a list of 20 different birth control pills or devices. I say devices because, like, the IUD is on there.
Right.
Okay?
Diaphragms, those things.
Right. But there's a list of 20 of them. Of the 20, Hobby Lobby has absolutely no problem on this planet in providing the financial support for 16 of them.
Right.
There are only 4 that actually induce abortion that Hobby Lobby says, we're not going to be a part of that. We can't be a part of that. Our closely held beliefs prevent us from taking part in that. So now you got all these liberals crawling out of the woodwork like cockroaches when the lights go out. And they're just, Nancy Pelosi, for instance, she sent out a couple of tweets. The first one was, allowing CEOs to limit the medical procedures available to employees is a gross violation of workers' religious rights. And the second one, SCOTUS took an outrageous step against women's rights, setting a dangerous precedent that permits corporations to choose which laws to obey. Bullcrap, Pelosi. It's not that. It's nothing like that. Look, if these women that work for Hobby Lobby or for any other closely held corporation, that's what they're calling it, closely held corporation, if they want these things, they are still available to them. They have to use their own money to get them, but they can get them.
Hey, you know what, guys? You can go to any food store in this country now, and in the personal aisle, they sell condoms. They're cheap. You don't need the expensive things. And I really believe no one should be forced to pay for someone's birth control.
You know what?
That is a personal choice, and that is government in our bedrooms, for God's sake. The federal government is now in bed with us.
Now, let me tell you something. There's a whole bunch of these liberal protesters and women that were out there on Monday, and they're holding up signs that say, bosses don't belong in the bedroom. Okay, because they don't want the Hobby Lobby CEOs, the family-owned business, the boss, to tell them, we're not going to pay for your specific birth control. Okay? Bosses don't belong in the bedroom. However, aren't they actually wanting bosses in the bedroom? They want their boss to pay for their birth control, so doesn't that in and of itself put the boss in the bedroom?
Yes, yes. And you know what? They forgot the cheapest birth control of all. Keep their legs closed and the zippers up.
Yeah, just slam your knees together, for crying out loud.
We don't have to pay for this, guys. This is not medical, except for, like Craig said, there are some women that need the birth control pills because they have problems, endometriosis, among other things. That's medical. Preventing something that you can prevent on your own is not a medical necessity. Do we have to pay for women that sleep around, who don't even know who they sleep with?
I got one word for you.
We have to pay like Sandra Fluke.
There's the two
words.
words.
My opinion. There's the poster child for this. Do we have to pay for these women and these men? You know, it works both ways. They want us to pay for their condoms. No, this is personal issues. These are not medical issues. This does not belong as part of Obamacare. Hobby Lobby had every right to not pay for any of it.
But they said they'd go ahead and pay for 16 of them out of the 20.
Good enough for the liberals.
No,
that's good enough.
Now let me tell you, I did an article today. It's published at the nationalpatriot.com today about this Hobby Lobby situation. And what I did was I went through and I literally took quotes of liberals and then explained after each one why they were completely 100% wrong about this. They're lying. They have to lie. Okay? They have no other choice here. They have to make it seem like this is a ruling against women and that women are being denied things. Now, let me give you a couple of examples here. Congressman Becerra from California, okay, liberal. He was on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace. And Chris Wallace said, if I own a company and I have strong religious beliefs, the government can tell me I have to violate those beliefs in terms of providing birth control coverage to my employees. Becerra responded, the government will not violate anyone's religious beliefs, but no one has the right to discriminate against a woman because of her beliefs. Wallace then asked Becerra whether or not a woman could find other employment. If they're working for a group like Hobby Lobby, couldn't they go out and find a different job? And Becerra answered that with, quote, no business should be allowed to discriminate against women. And we've gone beyond that. We should also pay them equally for the work they do that's equal to what a man does, unquote. Wallace then says, what about the owner's right to his religious freedom and his religious beliefs? And Becerra comes back again with, quote, the owner has a right to his or her religious beliefs, but that doesn't mean you get to discriminate against a woman if the woman has different beliefs than what the owner has, and the woman wants to exercise her rights under the Constitution. So this guy Becerra is a one-trick pony, okay? The only talking point he got was it's discrimination against women. What he's trying to convince us of is that women have rights that trump everybody else's rights under the Constitution, but for the life of me, I can't find that in the Constitution.
That's because it's not there.
But
you
now,
can't find it because it's not there.
I know. Now, here's the other thing. He said, when Wallace says, well, couldn't a woman go out and get another job? Becerra refused to answer that. What he's totally leaving out of the equation is, had Hobby Lobby lost the decision on Monday at the Supreme Court level, Hobby Lobby was prepared to immediately close all of their stores, which are hundreds and hundreds. Mm-hmm. I think there's like 500 Hobby Lobbies in the United States. They were ready to close every single one of them, which would have put tens of thousands of Americans out of a job. So they would have had to have gone and found a different job anyway.
Exactly.
Now, let me tell you what one of your favorite people, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, said, Diane.
Oh, God, my congresswoman. Oh, somebody.
I know. You and Debbie get together and have coffee every Thursday. I know.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, I have met her a few times. The woman is maybe 4'10", 4'11",
She really does fit the description of Obama's little lap dog.
She's a poodle.
Yeah,
Okay.
a poodle.
I mean, that's what she is. She's a poodle. Debbie Wasserman Schultz says, quote, nearly 60% of women who use birth control do so for more than just family planning, unquote. Well, Diana and I just covered that. But if you're using birth control that causes abortions, if that's not family planning, what is it?
Exactly. And you know what? Abortion is not family planning. Abortion, as we like to say, is murder.
It is.
It's not family planning. You plan not to get pregnant. You don't plan to kill once you are pregnant.
Now, let me tell you what I felt was the most egregious of all the quotes that I pulled from this. And this came from Josh Ernst. Now, he's not a household name yet, but he is Jay Carney 2.0. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the new town crier, the town liar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he gets up there on Monday after the decision comes down, up there in the White House press briefing room, and tells the reporters ask him, well, what about the decision? What do you think about the decision? And he says, quote, we disagree, and the constitutional lawyer in the Oval Office disagrees with that conclusion from the Supreme Court, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
I had one question in the blog this morning. Is he referring to the same constitutional lawyer in the Oval Office that has made it clear over the last 5.5 years that he doesn't believe the Constitution applies to him?
Could very well be. Could very well be. And you know what is also odd about this decision, and it's just my opinion. The Supreme Court ruled correctly that this is a private business. Their freedom of religion needs to be protected. Whatever. The decision is great. However, what people don't understand, a lot of them are going out and saying this is a victory for the religious right. No, folks. This is a victory for the United States Constitution.
It's a victory for the First Amendment.
Exactly.
This is a First Amendment issue. We have freedom of, not freedom from religion. Now, here's something I find interesting. And I put this in towards the end of the article today. And that is, have you ever noticed that whenever there's an opportunity to remove or squash or shred or burn some of our rights in this country, that we are told most often by liberals that, quote, we must do it for the children. We must do it for the children.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Until on those rare occasions when the opportunity to abort them comes into play. Then the talking point changes. We must do it for the women. We cannot discriminate against the women. Well, if we're supposed to be doing everything, to get rid of our rights in the Constitution for the children, but yet we're going to stand up and protect the right to abort those children before we can even do anything to save them?
It makes no sense. It's the liberal mind not thinking things through correctly. They just do not they don't understand the consequences of their actions. It's just mind-boggling.
Here's the thing, folks, and this is I think this is important. Okay, maybe some people don't, but I do. If you're a conservative and you are jumping for joy over this decision that came down on Monday, the Supreme Court ruling in favor of Hobby Lobby and the First Amendment, upholding our First Amendment, if that makes you happy, and it should, okay? If you're glad that government just got stopped from running roughshod over people's religious beliefs, you had damn well better not be trying to interject your particular brand of religion into government. Because you cannot rejoice at the government being kept out of religion and at the same time actively be trying to force your particular brand of religion into government. It doesn't work that way. You can't have it both ways unless you view yourself as an absolute hypocrite.
Exactly. These people want government out of religion, yet they're trying to put their religion into the government. And like Craig said, you cannot have it both ways. And this decision was the right decision. And yes, the Green family's religious beliefs were respected, and that's wonderful. But this, folks, really is a victory for the Constitution, not for religion, but for the Constitution.
You see, our founders and framers, and as we come up on Independence Day, it makes it even more poignant, I think. But our founders and framers set forth a Bill of Rights and a Constitution that protected the people against the government. And when you get to the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting or make no law creating a religion or preventing people from the freedom to practice their religion. I'm paraphrasing. Okay?
Right.
Now, think about that for a second. What the founders and framers intended was that government would not become involved in religion, and religion would not become involved in government.
Right.
Those were the intentions of the framers. And when they put that First Amendment there, they put it in the first slot for a reason. It protects our freedom of expression and our freedom of religion.
Exactly.
Religion should not be a part of government, and government should not be a part of religion. That was their intent. It's clear.
Exactly.
It's crystal clear.
It might upset a few people, but guys, that is what the founders intended. That is what they were intended. Remember one very, very important thing. Nowhere in our Constitution is the mention of God or Jesus.
The Creator
The only mention is in the Declaration of Independence, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights.
Whose Creator? They don't say.
Exactly.
The Creator.
This battle that we're in, guys, we need to stay focused on the Constitution, on decisions like the Supreme Court made, who followed the rule of law. We need to stay focused completely on the Constitution, on our republic. We need to stay focused on the goal. Because if we let ourselves be split by all these little factions going on, we can lose again.
We will lose again.
And this time it will be over. This time it will be over, because in 2016, heaven forbid we get Hillary or who I think, Julian Castro, then we might as well just all give up. And while some of us will never give up, we do have a chance, guys, to honor that Constitution. And that's by getting out and voting in November and pulling that lever for the R. No matter who it is, you can hold your nose. I have to hold my nose in my own state. But we need to turn the Senate back red. We can hold those rhinos to task if we control both the House and Senate. And we can start setting our country right again. But we need numbers. We need all of you out there. No third-party candidates. Put your social issues on the back burner for now. We can deal with them on the state levels where our founders intended them to be. It's all about the Constitution, folks. The Supreme Court did 3 rulings over this past week based on the Constitution. We need to follow that too.
Well, and let me just interject this, okay? Because along with what I said about you can't have government out of religion and yet force religion into government, it doesn't work both ways, folks. Let me tell you what this Supreme Court decision on Hobby Lobby really, really means. It means that government has no business telling you when and where you can practice your faith.
Exactly.
You don't have to check it at the door when you go to work. You don't have to leave it inside the church when you walk outside the church. You can carry that faith with you wherever you go. But what it does, and this is why we're so adamant about this being a First Amendment situation, what this does is it tells you specifically no government in religion, no religion in government. The only place you don't want your religion to take precedent in your life is when you vote. Because if you vote based on your religion, you are trying to interject your specific brand of religion into government. We're not telling you not to believe. We're not telling you to scrap your faith. We're telling you to hold on to your faith. But hold on to the Constitution, because it's constitutionally on policy and politics where we can win these elections.
Yes. Those are the two words you really need to stay focused on, people, is politics and policy, because the politics and the policies of the Obama regime is what has gotten us to where we are. And it's not a pretty place, folks. These other issues are not important right now. They can come back. They can be revisited. But we need to protect our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our Fourth Amendment, our whole entire Constitution, because it's being destroyed and unraveled by one man. We
can solve our social issues and differences with the strengths of our families.
Exactly.
We take this country back at the voting booth. But Diane, we are out of time today. It's been a great show. We want to thank again Commander Chris Davis from Bowie's Volunteer Militia Group for being with us. And we'll stay in touch with the commander, and we'll let you know how things are going down on the border. But folks, we'll be back. Diane and I, we've got a very special Independence Day broadcast we're going to do on Friday. We'll let you know what time as soon as we get that locked and loaded. But Diane, we got to say goodbye.
Got to say goodbye, and I want to say goodbye to my friends at the NSA, because I know you were listening in. My computer was telling me. So have a happy 4th, NSA, and bye, guys.
Bye-bye, folks.
Fast on a rough road, riding high through the mountains, climbing, twisting, turning further from my home. Young, like a new moon rising, fierce through the rain and lightning, wandering out into this great unknown. And I don't want no one to cry, but tell them if I don't survive, I was born free. I was born free. I was born free. Born free. Free like a river raging strong is the wind I'm facing, chasing dreams and racing Father Time. Deep like the grandest canyon, wild like an untamed stallion. If you can't see my heart, you must be blind. You can knock me down and watch me bleed, but you can't keep no chains on me. I was born free. I was born free. I was born free. Born free. And I'm not good at long goodbyes, but look down deep into my eyes. I was born free. Calm, facing danger, lost like an